Hi, Asking RC here, and in this video, we'll be going over the breakdown of these series, which is called Making a Sailor, which I'll link down below. And I'm not really going to go over the people that they follow through here. There's like a documentary following through specific recruits as they go through. I'm going to go through the experience in itself and what they cover and kind of break down and see what you can see. So right off the bat, obviously, you can see that this is the bus you get on. So those that fly in, you're all going to be gathered at the airport, and you start getting buses, and there's multiple buses that drop off. They can't carry everyone in one bus because there could be upwards of like 400 people. So get everyone on the bus and they start making trips. So what you're seeing happens here actually happens multiple times a night until you're all set into your divisions and then moved over to the Pearl Harbor, which you can see later in the background. But this building is Golden 13, named after the first 13 black officers that were commissioned, 12 ensigns and one warrant officer. So I paused here because this is actually a really great angle. So hopefully you can see my mouse. Right around here is actually where you would enter, and then they're all filling up down here. Over here there's a classroom, and then this whole area is actually just a big rectangle. It goes all the way across off screen, of course. And then these flags on the ground are actually pennants. They always tell you when you're at boot camp, do not step on the flags. And that's a huge thing. Just don't do it whatsoever. It's a good way to get a lot of attention would be the short way to say it. But yeah, this is where you'll come to this building a couple of times. You can see up here there's a second level. That is where you do a lot of like the setup for your pay, and then you come back later there at the end of training to get your orders. But yeah, these flags themselves are actually pennants, and they spell things out. So ask your RDC when you get there. So this statement right here, where it says, upon stepping off the bus, these former civilians are now recruits in the U.S. Navy. Yes, that is true. There are times where I have been on night arrival crew, where I was on the bus crew. I've done this as well, where having them off the bus and getting them through here. But for the crew, when I went to go and pick them up, check them in and everything before we get them on the bus to make sure we have accountability for everyone. I actually had a few of them where they came up to me and they're like, "Hey, I don't want to do this," and at the time I was just a second class. I was like, "That's not up to me." And that's my chain of command, and they're like, "Yeah, if they want to pay for their own ticket, they can fly back, right? Because we pay for everything for you to get there." But if you would turn around, they got their parents getting a plane ticket. We contacted the recruiter, said nope, they turned around, and that was it. Don't really recommend it, but yeah, once you step off the bus, it's all in. So just make sure you're ready. Right, so you can see right off the bat they're already giving basic instructions. They're telling them they have to go down to their t-shirt, right? They're trying to make sure you take off your jackets, sweatshirts, hoodies, everything like that. You're pretty much going down to a t-shirt and your pants or shorts, whatever it is. If you're wearing multiple, just take your layers off, is what they're saying. The last layer you have without going down to undergarments. And they tell you to do it in some very specific time, very quickly, right? And you can see Chief Claw here is getting at this guy because he's not paying attention to the basic instruction. And that's the thing, right? It's the mentality. Just pay attention, do what you're told, or the consequences is you get extra attention. That's not what you want. You want to be able to follow orders, and it's not fly under the radar. It's just do what you're told, or you're gonna, have a gentleman like Chief Claw get in you. Something right here. He was probably told to stand at attention right now. And right now, you can see he's kind of has his look on his face. That just might be how his face is, right? I'm not saying anything about how he looks. What I'm saying is how you hold yourself. And he was told to stand at attention, and he's not. And then if you start making facial gestures like that, maybe he's just nervous, and this is how he's responding to nervous. But probably would respond the same way Chief is responding right now. And it looks like you're kind of saying, no, screw you. I'm not going to do this. Oh, I don't want you yelling at me. You're going to get yelled at. It's just how it works. It's a mentality. We got to break down everything, set a foundation, and then build up from that. And it's not all through boot camp that you get yelled at. Like it's just the beginning to just get you the idea of like we need to get you to do something very quickly in a certain way. I don't have time to argue with you. It's do it or go away, or you're gonna get a whole lot more attention. And that's how you get orders in the military. It's not really suggestions.
When I said
Yep.
your hands will never be behind you, your hands will never be in front of you. What is your problem?
So you could just tell that to us, or at least to me, and obviously Chief Claw felt the same way. He's doing these facial, like he's trying to hold himself back from just like lashing back at Chief. Don't do that. We can tell the difference between you're freaking out And whether this, hopefully, maybe he is just freaking out a little bit, but it looks like he kind of wants to say something back. Don't do that. Definitely make sure you're focused on being able to just focus. If being a little scared is fine though.
Game 24/7 and it starts tonight. Do you understand me?
Yes, Chief.
I can't hear you. Do you understand
Yes,
me?
Chief.
So that's the basics what he's getting at. Just because no one's looking doesn't mean you can start just goofing off, relaxing, and just moving around. If they tell you to sit there and stand at attention, sit there and stand at attention. It's definitely a life skill you learn when being in the military, where there's times where I'm out with my family. I'm just taking them out to places they want to go. Maybe, for a poor example, anytime I take my wife out to a store she wants to go. Obviously, it's a store specifically designed for women, and so I take her and let her do her thing, and I'm just totally cool with just sitting there. I'm sometimes not on my phone, I'm just sitting there, standing there, and for a while she thought I was just bugging her, but she understood. After a while, it's just nope. It's just a military thing. We're totally cool with just standing there and doing nothing. You get really good at it. Also, sleeping anywhere. We still do boxes. We don't send them home anymore. There's complications with that, but what they'll do is they'll store them locally, and then at the end of boot camp, once you graduate, they'll give them back to you. So you don't have to worry about losing those items in the mail or shipping, or if you live overseas or anything like that. But yeah, just keep in mind, there's not everything's going to fit in that box. So make sure you can donate your clothes or throw them away. So make sure you just bring in clothes that you don't mind. Maybe go a day without your cell phone. Don't bring it. If you do bring your cell phone, though, you can utilize that to make your first call home to say, "Hey, I arrived at boot camp. I'm safe." But after that, definitely just bring minimal things.
Clothes and sneakers, nothing that you came with aside from maybe a hairbrush and a few personal items gets to stay with you.
So that's one thing. Actually, I didn't really want to go over the individuals that are being filmed for this documentary, but she does make a good point, and I go over this in the start guide video that I'll have pop up in the card. But there are some things that you can bring to boot camp that you can keep with you, but it's usually hygienic things. For example, for females, um, any tampons or pads that you want to bring, deodorant for any male or female. Uh, Males, if you're razors like shaving, but you don't really have to worry about bringing that because part of this roundabout that you're going here, because you will, like I said, this is a square and you're going to go around a couple of times for haircuts and putting on the uniform and the PT gear. One of them is like a little store that has the basic necessities. It's for shampoo, body wash, deodorant, razors, and stuff like that, and it's also feminine hygiene products as well for females. So there are some things you can bring, your own comb, your own brush if you prefer that, but it's not necessary. They can provide you with all that, and you're in boot camp. Just get used to having the basic needs. You don't really have to worry too much about that. And if you're a bar soap user, they do have like soap savers and stuff. But this is all going to go in a small drawer, along with all your personal items, and obviously that's still wet, and they can get your other stuff wet and soapy. So I just recommend getting used to using body wash.
Been up since 3 in the morning since last night, and I don't know how I'm awake right now at this moment. And I've been on my feet, and my feet are dying.
So once again, I didn't really want to go over it, but he did bring up a good point. A lot of people don't think about is so you might be if you end up having to stay in a hotel room first, you go to the MEP station in the morning, get through the processing, you fly out, you land, and you start your processing here, sometimes as late as 10 o'clock at night. And then they just go through all the night. And no, you don't get to sleep. So you are going to pull a 24, 36-hour day here. So there's twice that you're going to be doing that. One is going to be your first day that you arrive, and then two is going to be on the night of battle stations where you're going to wake up one day and not go to bed until the next day. So this is going to happen. It happens on the first day, and it happens near one of your last days when your graduation is. Battle stations is the final culmination of everything you learn. You put to the test, and it's another overnight thing. So do keep that in mind. That you're the first night and the last night. And no, they don't sell energy drinks to recruits.
There is a reason for everything that we do to instill that pressure.
So what?
So that short sentence that Chief Claw said is very important. There's a reason for everything we do, and they do instill that pressure. So you can even take this night as a great example. We're given very simple instructions, and you're given very little time to do it, and people are yelling at you. It can be a shock to most people at first. Not everyone is just constantly yelled at when they're trying to do basic tasks. But when you're given that much pressure of little time and people are just constantly on you, and there might be multiple people on you or multiple RDCs just yelling and saying, "What's going on? Why can't you do this? Hurry up, focus, get it done. Let's go, let's go." And simple mundane tasks all of a sudden become very difficult to do. But it's conditioning. If you can learn to do these basic simple tasks under pressure, then when you go out to the fleet and you're doing a real task, which might be shooting a weapon or defending yourself or operating heavy equipment or equipment that if you do it wrong can cause a lot of damage to your own people, it makes it easier. Now you have mental condition that you can handle that stress or pressure. So majority of boot camp is that. So just a little quick overview with this, right? So they've gone through their basic processing. You might not have been able to get your haircuts right away when you're going through. Sometimes you have to wait through the night. Then your RDCs will take you to get haircuts later on your P1 day. So your day doesn't start until your RDCs get there. That's your P1 day. So everything you've gone through is just to get you the stuff you need to get to, and then get to your first compartment. And this is a compartment in the Pearl Harbor. It's utilized only for processing. These compartments just because everything around on the building connected to it. Is everything you need to get through P days. And then after you're done with P days, you go underneath the bridge where you sing Anchors Away or Stand ADF to Sea. And then that's when you start doing all your training because there's no need to be back over here very often. There are still a couple things you go over, but the initial paperwork and processing, getting through the Navy, the medical and everything like that is right next to the Pearl Harbor or connected to it directly. And as you can see here, they're going to the first compartment. They still look like this. All compartments look like this. And the coffin racks where you have to lift them up and all your stuff is underneath. That's what we have on ships as well. Some ships have it where the top rack isn't a coffin rack. It's just it's just a flat bed. And then you get a stand-up locker on ships. But, they're like this. They're not on wheels. Obviously, they're hard connected to the ship. And it'd be weird if the ship was rocking and it was rolling about. But very similar. As you can see here, everyone's walking on the right side of the P-way. It's not called a hallway anymore. P-way, short for passageway. That's a thing. 100%. Walk on the right. If you're a recruit, walk on the right. It's just traffic patterns. It makes it easier when you're moving a whole lot of people at once. The same way where we march around. It's a very easy way to move, 90 plus people around. Also, it teaches uniformity and teamwork. But yeah, stick to the right. So that's it for the breakdown of this video. If you guys want to see more, I can go over more of the videos and like things that you see in here that they just don't talk about, right? This documentary series was built around the idea of what it's going to be like for you as a recruit. I think it's well built. I've seen it through before, and I know a lot of these RDCs that they show in here. As I pushed with them before, I was in the same ship as them. And so it's more point of view for the recruit if you're going to go through what it's going to be like as a recruit. But also if you're as an RDC themselves, I can go over and break down both venues. Like, hey, this is what's going to be like as you as a recruit, and you as an RDC, this is what they're doing and what you're going to be dealing with kind of things. I can go down both paths one in the next video as well. But if you have any questions or comments, leave them down the section below. And once again, I'm going to link this video as well if you want to watch the whole documentary series. Hooyah, Navy.